Where do lost contact lenses go? They might be hiding right in your eyes. Just moments ago, 911 received an emergency call. An elderly woman said she suddenly felt a headache. Upon examination, the paramedic found the woman's right eye slightly red and swollen.
Do you wear contacts?
I do. It's easier than trying to remember where my readers are.
Do you forget to take them out sometimes?
Well, they fall out.
Since contact lenses are disposable, when they go missing, the woman didn't pay much attention. However, the contact lens didn't just disappear. Instead, they got stuck in her eyes. One teammate quickly administered eye drops to her eye. To make it easier to remove the lodged contact lens, the paramedic brought cotton swabs and lifted the woman's upper eyelid.
What? Just be still.
It's like a clown car.
As she used cotton swabs to peel off the contact lenses stuck in woman's eye, there were so many that they had to be collected in a bag. The old man hastily asked how many lenses there were in total.
More than a dozen.
How is that possible?
Well, it's a lot more common than you might think. There was a woman in the UK who had 27 removed.
The woman was nearly driven to death by the urge to pee because she hadn't used the bathroom for 2 days. It turned out she was participating in a bizarre contest called Touch a Car, Win a Car. The rules were simple: touch the car with one hand throughout the contest without letting go, and the last person standing could win the $30,000 car. After a day and a night, only 2 participants remained. The man offered $1,000 to the woman, urging her to remove her hand from the car. However, the woman stubbornly shook her head, insisting that she would only let go if she died. In the next moment, the woman suddenly screamed in pain, which made the man so happy. When the rescue team arrived, the woman still refused to release her hand. To avoid using the bathroom, she actually hadn't drunk water for 2 days. The team suspected she had acute kidney failure and needed immediate hospital treatment. However, the woman adamantly refused to let go, and the man showed no intention of conceding too. The captain had no choice but to persuade the manager to temporarily halt the contest. Unfortunately, the manager insisted that rules were rules and there was no possibility of stopping it. The captain then asked if the rule meant they had to continuously touch a part of the car with their hand, to which the manager confirmed. Following this, the captain instructed a firefighter to bring a chainsaw intending to cut off a portion of the car. In the end, the reluctant manager had no choice but to announce that both participants had won a car each. If there were such a car-touching contest, would you participate? A man was showing his daughter how to use the nail gun. Suddenly, he accidentally shot a nail into his own chest. Seeing this, the daughter stood there in shock.
You better call 911.
Before she could react, the man collapsed straight to the ground. Then the daughter dialed 911. After telling the operator of the situation, she asked the operator if she could pull out the nail. The operator quickly urged her not to move the nail, advising her to wait patiently for the rescue team. When the rescue team arrived, the paramedic quickly examined the man and found that his blood pressure was too low, but fortunately his pulse was stable. The team cut open the man's clothes, discovering that the nail was positioned near the heart. After a thorough examination, they suspected pericardial tamponade, indicating fluid accumulation around the heart. The man was placed on a stretcher and ready to be taken to the hospital. On the way, the man suddenly realized he hadn't said goodbye to his daughter.
That's the last time I speak to her.
Don't worry. You'll have plenty more chances to tell her later.
However, before he could finish his words, the monitor showed that the man had entered shock. The team quickly placed a breathing mask on him and began CPR. Just then, a large amount of blood sprayed from the wound.
They'll fix it at the hospital, but only if he's not dead.
Despite the alarming situation, the firefighter continued with CPR. With relentless efforts, the man's heartbeat was finally restored. However, before they could celebrate, a gush of blood sprayed onto his face. Fortunately, at that moment, the fire truck arrived at the hospital, but the sight of opening the door startled the outside teammates. The owner of a bowling alley went to fix a lane. Her nephew at the front desk was so engrossed in playing with his phone that he casually started the machine. The woman's arm was instantly bent at a 90-degree angle, and a large amount of blood stained the bowling pins red. However, her desperate cries for help were drowned out by the noisy environment, until the customer picked up the second ball, staring at the blood on her fingers. The piercing scream once again echoed through the bowling alley, finally attracting everyone's attention. Soon firefighters arrived, but the nephew still clung to his phone in confusion. An employee rushed forward to guide them, while the woman screamed in pain. The firefighters quickly approached to assess the situation, and upon examination they found the woman's arm had a compound fracture accompanied by severe trauma. Meanwhile, this employee brought a manual control device, guiding the firefighters to manually move the machine. However, another firefighter loudly stopped them, as the woman's arm was already completely broken, and the machine was the only thing preventing massive bleeding. Moving the machine hastily would lead to uncontrollable bleeding. Immediate action was needed to transport the woman to the hospital. At that moment, a firefighter came up with an idea. If they cut the machine entirely and turned it into a makeshift stretcher, they could transport the woman directly to the hospital. The captain immediately adopted his suggestion. After a round of cutting, the woman's arm with the machine attached was completely removed, and quickly rushed to the hospital. At this point, the woman stopped the employee and requested a refund for the customers.
No refunds. Give everyone a coupon for another visit.
Seeing the employee so smart, the boss decisively handed over the management of the bowling alley to him, who as his first act fired the boss's nephew, who was only focused on his phone.
You're fired.
A couple was having dinner in a revolving restaurant. The woman just wanted to stand up but found herself tightly pinned between the table and the pillar. A piercing scream echoed throughout the entire restaurant. Just moments ago, the man just wanted to give her a birthday present. Unexpectedly, the woman was so excited thinking he was proposing to her, while the man looked slightly embarrassed. Seeing the woman's eyes filled with anticipation and the surrounding expressions of blessings, the man's mind was completely bewildered. Feeling the man was too slow, the woman decided to open the gift herself, but the man hesitated to let go, creating an awkward struggle. Suddenly, the box fell to the floor. The woman immediately bent down and discovered the box in the corner.
Found it.
Then she opened it on her own.
You're joking. 5 years together and you bring me up here for earrings?
It's your birthday.
Yeah, next week.
I wanted.
After the
I'm
words,
not
the woman
surprised.
stood up to leave.
God.
But the table in the revolving restaurant trapped her tightly. Coincidentally, firefighter Chimney and his girlfriend Maddie were on a date in the same restaurant. Without hesitation, they rushed over. Although the manager promptly shut down the motor, the thing could only move forward, not backward. A preliminary assessment indicated that the woman's pelvic bone was severely fractured and dislocated. Meanwhile, the boyfriend, already stunned, was standing aside.
Should have broke up 3 years ago.
Chimney skillfully found a nearby fire axe, successfully pried the table off of the bolts. With the help of the man, they moved the table aside, and the woman finally lay flat on the floor. After a careful examination, Chimney discovered a severe pelvic bone fracture and significant internal bleeding. Using a tablecloth, he improvised a temporary fixation for the woman's pelvis. It was only then that the man stepped forward to explain why he hadn't proposed earlier, fear of being rejected by the woman.
You didn't ask.
I'm asking now.
Yes, Larry. Yes.
A man peed towards a robot. Subsequently, the robot sneaked into the warehouse. Then it brought out a toolbox, glanced around, and unexpectedly crashed into the shelf in front. Firefighters quickly arrived. According to the workers' descriptions, this was not a simple accident but an attack by the robot on her colleague. It turned out that earlier this morning the supervisor found their work efficiency too low, so he sealed off the restroom. Only when the workers' speed exceeded that of the robot could they go to the restroom. Although work was important, people have their limits. Sam couldn't hold his urine anymore. He had wanted to sneak into the restroom, but the supervisor was guarding the door, leaving no chance to enter. Watching the working robot frustrated, Sam peed on it. Unexpectedly, he ended up facing retaliation. Firefighters arrived at the warehouse and found Sam trapped under the shelf. His breathing was rapid and blood pressure low. Although the condition of his lower body was unclear, the shelf likely cut a major artery. The team worked together to lift the shelf. Paramedics quickly rushed in and applied pressure to the wound, promptly performed arterial hemostasis. However, even with these efforts, Sam still passed out. Then the paramedic immediately initiated CPR. Sam quickly regained consciousness. Then he was taken to the hospital for further treatment. Discovered that the robot seemed to malfunction. The man quickly approached to check. Ended up being unexpectedly knocked unconscious by the robot. As he fell into the box, he was instantly engulfed in foam. Subsequently, unaware colleagues labeled the box and sent him away. The man woke up only to find himself trapped inside the box. He quickly called 911. Due to being continuously jostled, he speculated he was on a delivery truck, fearful that in the next moment he might be sent out as a Christmas gift. Maddie instructed him to try opening the box, yet despite putting all his strength into it, he couldn't break free because he was shrink-wrapped. To make matters worse, the man was getting a little claustrophobic, feeling like he was about to go crazy. Maddie told him to stay calm while searching for the location of a cell phone signal. Soon they traced the information to a delivery truck, a batch of Christmas gifts destined for overseas shipment. Next, they were about to be loaded onto an airplane. Meanwhile, the man sensed that he was in motion. He desperately pounded on the box, trying to make the outside world hear him, but the machine's noisy sounds drowned out his cries for help. When the firefighters received the notification, the plane had already been in the air for 18 minutes. Then it was diverted to the Southern California airport. They quickly arrived at the airport, but the cargo hold was filled with boxes. Just then a phone rang inside the cargo hold. One firefighter immediately picked up a stethoscope to confirm the phone's location. Everyone swiftly cut open the box and found the man. However, at this point, the man was completely cold. Having already stopped breathing, the paramedic promptly performed CPR on him. After resuscitation, the man's pulse gradually returned, and his body temperature rapidly increased. At this moment, the man's phone rang again. It turned out to be Maddie's call. She had promised to keep calling until the man was rescued, so the firefighters could locate him. Learning that the man was safe, Maddie breathed a sigh of relief. The man also expressed his gratitude to her, thankful that he didn't end up as a Christmas gift. Have you ever experienced being led into a dead end by car navigation? At that moment, the navigation suddenly instructed her to make a left turn. Without hesitation, the woman turned to the left. However, in the next second, The woman quickly called 911. Upon learning of the situation, the operator immediately pinpointed the woman's location, but by this time the car started sinking. The woman realized she might not have much time left. The operator decided to guide the woman in self-rescue and asked if she could swim. She replied affirmatively but explained that the car windows and doors were impossible to open and water was steadily pouring in. The operator clarified that the external water pressure was higher than the pressure inside the car, and she had to wait until the pressure equalized to open the door.
I have to let myself sink. I don't want to die.
The operator reassured her and then suggested breaking the car window. However, after searching her entire bag, the woman couldn't find anything to break the window. With no other option, she had to wait. The operator then advised her to unbuckle her seatbelt, remove her jacket and shoes to avoid hindrance during escape, and keep her mouth and nose above the water surface. When the water reached her face, she was instructed to take a deep breath immediately to have enough oxygen to open the car door and escape. Just as the woman was about to open the car door, another car suddenly collided head-on. This moment disrupted the woman's rhythm. In this life-threatening situation, 2 firefighters jumped down from above. They found the woman trapped inside the car, quickly opened the door and rescued her. Then they floated to the surface with her. Seeing the situation, other teammates rushed to help, pulling the woman up together. At that moment, a series of car accidents occurred on the shore, and that car that had suddenly appeared was knocked down by them. It turned out that the city had been under a hacker attack, causing chaos throughout the city. Even the giraffes from the zoo were strolling the streets. The firefighters on the side were left stunned by the surreal scene.